Hello and welcome to Cal Cinema Center. I'm your host, and today we will be discussing Blue Heron, directed by Sophy Romvari. I'm not going to bury the lead this time. This is the most overlooked movie of 2026 and also one of the best. This movie follows a Hungarian family who moves to British Columbia and how their eldest child starts to exhibit behaviors of a mental illness. That's just me paraphrasing the synopsis, though. What this movie is really about is memory. It follows the youngest child and the only daughter in this family, her memories of the situation, and the eventual impact they had on her family. This is one of two highly critically acclaimed movies to come out of Canada in 2026, with the other being the hilarious Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. This is very refreshing as a Canadian because normally there are 0 or maybe 1 highly acclaimed Canadian movies in a given year. But here it's nice to be in the critical spotlight for a bit. This movie is a great example of how one could make a very simple story both unique and complex. The premise we have here sounds pretty straightforward for a small family drama, but the way the story unfolds and is told is what gives this movie so much power. It is most comparable to Charlotte Wells' Aftersun starring Paul Mescal, but they are not super similar. This is far from an Aftersun knockoff. The experience of this movie is interesting because the first half of it follows the perspective of a young girl for the most part, and lots of things are hidden and obscured. A lot of sound design tricks are used to keep what certain characters are saying obscured to the viewer. The cinematography is often voyeuristic, as we often view characters from far away or through shots of windows and doors. This portion of the movie presents itself as a collection of various vignettes of our protagonist's memories while her eldest brother's condition starts to show its head. With movies like these, I often try really hard to solve them or understand them well, to look smart, but this movie doesn't exactly work that way. I thought I understood this movie and what it was going for by the end of the first half, and then it completely shifts gears and changes the focus of the story in the second. For the sake of not giving too much away, the second half recontextualizes the first in such a beautiful and ingenious way that I did not expect at all. It had me tearing up and it broke my heart by the end. But in a good way, like how Nicole Kidman says it in the AMC ad. Heartbreak feels good in a place like this. This movie views memories and evidence of memories such as writing, photographs, and videos as a means of time travel. Our only access to moments and places that are long gone. I think this movie also very smartly dissects things such as the poor research and handling of people with these kinds of mental disorders as well. The biggest challenge of this movie was to make a situation that is largely unrelatable to most people into something that is deeply emotional, and I think it's succeeded with flying colors. Part of the success is thanks to the subtle yet terrific performances across the board. Edek Beddoes plays the older brother with the mental disorder, and it's truly a tough role to play here. As someone who definitely doesn't have the mental disorder portrayed in the film, but is on the autism spectrum, I care a lot about how invisible disabilities are portrayed on screen, and I think this movie succeeds completely. The older brother, who is named Jeremy, is essentially nonverbal for most of the movie. However, he has so much character, and I felt real sympathy for him. Many worse movies have treated these characters as robotic or erratic, but this just felt natural. I think Adam Tompa and Iringo Reti as the parents do a great job at feeling naturalistic in their performances as well. I had some trouble understanding them through their accents and would have liked subtitles just so I could make sure I caught everything they were saying, but I don't think that is a flaw in their performances. In fact, I'd go as far to say as it's a big part of why their performances feel so real. Ewell Govan, as the youngest daughter, is also great, especially for the task she's given, as she's basically the lens we are viewing the story through. Amy Zimmer is central to the second half of the story and delivers in some truly heartbreaking scenes with both subtlety and nuance. I'm being a bit vague here because I don't want to spoil anything about the movie. I just want to clarify that again. I've mentioned some aspects of the filmmaking so far, but this is really an impressive achievement for such a low-budget first-time feature. There is a real vision with how everything is presented. I mentioned the voyeuristic cinematography already, but this movie creates such beautiful images thanks to the framing and the use of colors. This is a very aesthetically pleasing movie, and it uses its location of British Columbia very well to deliver some eye-catching visuals. Another aspect I'd like to highlight is how this movie is edited. This is a 90-minute movie, but it never feels like it is rushing through any of its scenes. A lot of it feels very meticulous in how it's put together. With all the gushing out of the way, there are a few small gripes I have with this one. For one, it is a bit difficult to get a handle on at first, and after some big shifts happen in the second half. I imagine that many unprepared audience members may not click with this movie at all because it doesn't particularly care about holding the audience's hand. While I mostly enjoy the pacing, I do think it can linger on details that don't feel like they matter at the end of the day. Ultimately, Blue Heron is definitely not for everyone, and it leans more towards the artsy side of the spectrum, but it is a movie that very much connected with me. The naturalistic performances, the confident filmmaking, and the beautiful storytelling that examines both how we explore and understand memories all click together into something that I found pretty special. Sophy Romvari has made a truly great directorial debut, and it makes me proud as a Canadian knowing that my fellow Canadians are making movies that are this good. I know this video is going to get significantly less views than my others so far, but I think that just shows how much I needed to talk about this and how much I needed to recommend it to other people, because I know there is a pretty wide subsect who loved movies like After Sun that would really appreciate this. Now let's move over to the ratings board, and I'm not going to beat around the bush any longer. I'm giving this movie a firm rating of loved it, and would recommend it to anyone who appreciates art house movies, indie movies, or just wants to have a good cry. I'm unsure on when most people are going to be able to see this movie, as it has had a very limited release in theaters, but I do firmly recommend it if you have the opportunity to see it and are interested in it. Anywho, thanks for watching, and please give me any feedback, tell me if you have seen this movie already, how you felt about this movie. And if you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you later.